We're looking today at the problem, how to define a problem in bivariate data. So there's three things that you need to do. We first of all have to define what the purpose is, then you have to do a prediction, and then you have to describe the population. So we need to do all three of these things for the standard. So here's the dataset information. So this is looking at cars, and the two variables that we've got selected here are the city, which is looking at what the fuel efficiency is, and that's measured in kilometres per litre. And we've also got the weight, and that weight of the car is measured in kilograms. So to start with, we're going to define what the purpose is. Remember, three things: purpose, prediction, population. So start with the purpose. And for achieve level, this is the question we've got to ask ourselves. Why are we interested in this relationship? So what is the context? So what we're talking now about, if I just go back to that data set info, we're talking about how heavy the car is, and we're talking about how fuel efficient the car is. So we might want to know whether cars that are heavier or lighter are more fuel efficient or less fuel efficient. So a possible scenario might be, I want to buy a car, and I want to think about the fuel efficiency of the car before I buy it. So that might be my purpose. So I'm looking to buy a car, and I've heard that heavy cars use more petrol, and I put a little note there, and there's a website that I've gone and found some of that information from. Okay, so that website has told me about how heavy cars use more petrol, so I need to put a little bit of research in there. Then the next step is to do our purpose, and for the purpose we need to think about what are the two variables we're going to use and what are their units. So if I just go back to that dataset information, the two variables, one of them is the city, which is our fuel efficiency, and the units of that are kilometres per litre. The second variable is the weight, and the weight of the car is measured in kilograms. So that's what I need to construct together, and I'm looking for a relationship. Okay, bivariate data always means I'm looking for a relationship. So I wonder if there is a relationship between the weight and its units, kg, of a car and the car's fuel efficiency with its units, kilometres per litre. So I've identified the two variables and their units, and I've put that together into an I wonder statement about the relationship. So to move this into a marital excellence, I need some more research. So I'm just going to do a quick little brainstorm of a few different ideas that I might go into if this was the data set I'm going to investigate. I might look at the different types of cars and what the different weights of the cars are. Big cars, small cars, medium cars, trucks, etc. Okay. I might look into what fuel efficiency is. So when we talk about how many kilometres per litre the fuel efficiency is, what does that mean? Looking at the different kind of fuels that a car can use. So when I go to a petrol station, what are the different fuels I can purchase? What are some of the things that people should think about when buying a car? Because my purpose is about me going to buy a car, and I'm interested in the fuel efficiency, but what other things should I be thinking about when I look at cars? I can also look into how much petrol costs. Has the cost changed? Is it likely to get more? Is it likely to get less? What's the story with all the costs? And I might also look into the future and think, well, what are some of the new types of cars that are coming out? What sources of energy do they have? We've got electric cars, so maybe I need to consider some of those. So if I just take one of these ideas, the different types and weights of cars, and I want to go and do a bit of research, and I might go and find some info, and I might look up about small cars, and I know I can get really, really tiny two-seater cars, and those really tiny two-seater cars, some are just under a tonne, some are just over a tonne, but they're around about 1 tonne. Then we've got medium-sized cars, so that's our regular cars, our salons, our normal cars that most of us have, and they fit around 4 to 5 people, and those usually weigh somewhere between 1 to 2 tonnes, maybe a bit over 2 tonnes, but somewhere in that ballpark. We've also got large cars, like our SUVs and our vans, and they can fit 5 or more people, and they can weigh up to 4 or 5 tonnes. So I've done some research and I've gone out and found this information, and I should quote and reference where it's come from. And that leads me to this statement here, that I think that as cars are getting heavier, I think that they're going to need to use more fuel. And the reason for that is that they're going to be moving more weight. So what I'm doing here in that last sentence is I'm tying that research, I'm connecting that research about how heavy the cars are with the fuel efficiency, and looking at, well, if they get heavier, I think they might need to move more weight. So the next part, so that's our second part. The next one is our prediction. And we need to think about which variable we're going to predict. Are we going to be predicting the fuel efficiency, or are we going to be predicting the weight of the car? Okay, so in this particular case, we're going to predict the fuel efficiency. And the reason for that is, if I go back to my different types of cars, my purpose here, I think in the last sentence here it says, as the cars get heavier, it's quite likely they need to use more fuel. Okay, so that is why I'm going to predict the fuel efficiency based on knowing how much the car weighs. So I need a statement there saying which variable I'm going to predict based on the other variable. The third bit is our population. So going back to that data set info, it tells us there the data supplied is for new vehicles sold in America in 1993. So the population of that data set is all new vehicles sold in America in 1993. And so that gives me the 3 things I need for my problem, to define the problem. I've got my purpose, my prediction, and my population.